guys, I'm Lori Vitale. On this episode of Lori in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make an ooey gooey butter cake. Now this is a classic St. Louis cake. Now by no means am I saying that my version is the classic version, but it is my adaptation of it, and it's got all those same elements. It's ooey gooey, it's definitely buttery, and it's just like the original. It's very, very, very rich. It's not something that I would suggest you make on a daily basis or even on a weekly or a monthly basis, but if you've been to St. Louis, I went a couple years ago and I tried this cake for the first time and it was revolutionary, and I've loved it ever since. So once in a while, it's a nice treat to make. So let me go over the ingredients with you because they're kind of two sections here. What I have is some vanilla cake mix. This is my homemade version. You can get just a regular box of vanilla cake mix will do, and I've separated it. So I've got most of it here with 1 egg and lots of unsalted butter that's been softened at room temperature. Then on this section, I've got cream cheese that's been softened, eggs. I've got some clear or vanilla corn syrup. Here I have the remainder of the vanilla cake mix along with more sugar, some salt, some evaporated milk, and vanilla extract. That is it. So let's get started. Oven is preheated to 350. I have a 9 by 13 inch baking pan greased and ready to go, and I'm going to make mine in my standing mixer fitted with a pedal attachment. So let's get started. Let's make the base first. And to do that, you're going to need most of your vanilla cake mix. Add that right in. Like I said, this cake is insanely rich, but it is so good, and I can usually get a 9 by 13 to feed about 12 to 16 people because you really don't need a whole lot. It's that dense and that rich. You need the 1 egg and then 1 stick of butter softened at room temperature. That is what you're going to need for the base. I'm going to lift this up and I'm just going to mix this together until everything is pretty much well combined. Lower this bad boy. Now you can see it's very crumbly. It's not going to come together like a smooth cookie dough or anything like that, but don't panic. That is what you are looking for. Get this all out into, if it doesn't get fully mixed like that, it's fine, you'll see, because we're just going to press it in. Set this aside, and then just using my hands, just spread this evenly as you can manage. Like that, and then just press it. Just press it, press it, press it. That is what you're looking for. That's it. I mean, it's very, very complicated actually, as you can see. You just press it as best as you can. Don't spend too much time on it. Just the only thing that I want to make sure that you do is that it's so evenly. You know, you don't want like a big section over here and then like really thin and holey over here, but there's holes everywhere. So, great, done. Set that aside. Now, for the next part that you're going to have to really pay attention, you might want to get a notepad for this. You add everything else into the same bowl. Everything else goes in at once. I mean, it's really easy, but like I said, it's just so good. And I am going to add some macerated berries on top of it simply because I do think it needs that freshness, but when the time comes, we'll get there. So the rest of the cake mix: sugar, salt, evaporated milk, my corn syrup, not much. Then you will need your eggs. As you can see, I mean, this is like really, really complicated. Your cream cheese, make sure your cream cheese is softened at room temperature along with your butter. Get that all in there. This is what I love having a standing mixer because it does the job so much easier. But of course, you don't absolutely need one. You can do this by hand. Shaking my vanilla extract because all of the vanilla seeds sometimes tend to rest in the bottom. I want about a tablespoon of really good vanilla. Then I'm going to pop this back under here. Put the paddle attachment on, and you're going to mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's really smooth and everything is really well combined. Ew. Oh, that is a good sight. I actually made this cake a few weeks ago, and I posted a picture. It was a weekend, and I posted a picture on Instagram because I couldn't help myself. And I had people actually text me and say, "Where's the recipe?" Like friends of mine. So I wasn't planning on making a recipe video, but of course everybody was like, "You have to share that recipe." But my personal friends and family couldn't wait until I posted the recipe to Laura in the Kitchen, so I had to email it to all of them, which I thought was really funny because it's really outrageously delicious. All right, you take your spatula. You just give it everything a good mix from the bottom, just in case it didn't get mixed in well, but really it was mixing for like 3 minutes, so there's really not a whole lot that didn't get mixed in. And then you just pour this mixture over the top, like so. Now what's really important is that you don't over bake this cake. Something you need to keep in mind is that the word ooey gooey really means that the interior of the cake is very gooey. It's almost borderlining not fully cooked. So this is going to go into my preheated oven at 350 for 35 minutes exactly. Now I'm not sure how your oven goes. It might need a little bit more time. It might need a little bit of less time depending on your oven, but I will show you the consistency when it's ready. But generally 35 minutes is exactly how long it takes for this just to be like the most incredible texture ever. So I'm going to pop this in, bake it for 35 minutes and let it cook completely, and then we'll serve it. My cake was in the oven for exactly 35 minutes. I have let it cool completely. Now when you take it out of the oven, the very center of the cake will still be somewhat wobbly, but it will set as it cools, which is why it's really important you don't over bake it. Because if you over bake it, then you're gonna miss out on the ooey gooey texture. I'm gonna cut myself a piece. Now this is, believe it or not, a very generous piece because it's super, 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 super sweet and very rich and decadent, which there's nothing wrong with that, but even I couldn't eat a piece this big. I would typically share a piece this big, but if you come close, I kind of point at it with my knife, you could see the somewhat cookie base, and then you can see the interior is a little gooey. Oh, it's so good. Now, I like to serve it with something bright and fresh because I think it needs it. Not traditional, yes, I understand that, but I think it needs a little bit of something bright to sort of cut all that heavy sweetness. So all I have here are some macerated berries. I've got blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries. I just added a little squeeze of orange, and that's all I've done. And I let them sit here for a while. I actually had them in the fridge. And then I just like to top that. You could do a dusting of confectioner sugar, and it would be lovely, but you need it. If I say you need it, you know that that's typically a good indication that it makes a difference. I'm gonna go in for a bite, which I make a big mess when I eat, but it's okay. That is money. It is so good. And as you can see, it was very easy to put together. Definitely worthy of a special occasion. So if you have one coming up, I think this would be a really great thing to add to your buffet table. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the written recipe. I hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.